Meghan like us. No. Hi, welcome to Meghan Like Us. I'm Erin.
I'm Danielle. Thanks for watching. All right, so season 2 is coming, Erin, and we are gearing up to keep this convo going about With Love Meghan. The impact of this content, the conversations that have started, the community that has welcomed us. But really, thanks for all the support, the kind words, and let us know what your favorite moments have been from With Love Meghan for season 2, because we are going to be talking about it. So put in the comments the stuff you want us to talk about, because we'll be reading them as we continue to have these conversations for the next few weeks. So
Absolutely. And, thank you again for all of the kind words and support, comments, likes. We see it all, and we really appreciate you, our listeners. Thank you for sharing our podcast with others, and we can't wait to bring you more.
So what did you learn about Meghan this episode that you didn't expect?
I think that there's something I'm really appreciating about episode 8, but really the show as a whole, is the aspect of looking at things with a finer sense of detail. And I really appreciate that Meghan takes this idea of giving a gift to someone and will elevate it by handwriting a note, by grabbing something that's personal to them, grabbing something that comes from her home or from her garden. And when I think about giving a gift and gift giving, I think so much of it is about just being thoughtful and not necessarily thinking it needs to be this something that will wow someone.
Yeah.
But I think wowing them with the intention and the attention to detail. Particularly in this episode, what I noticed was the handwritten notes. And it's not, everyone knows that obviously writing a note by hand is special. But Meghan's attention to detail to make sure her penmanship was at a level so that when you are getting this handwritten note, it almost feels like a font.
Yeah.
That's on a whole other level that was like, I need to set my game up. Because I think I have really nice handwriting. I didn't always, but I find my handwriting to be pretty nice. And to think of it as, when I was looking at her handwriting, I'm like, she definitely took a class on this, because there's an art to writing a great letter or just writing someone's name on this. She creates a note for Alice, and I do the millennial, like you write someone's name, you do the little swoosh swoosh with the little dashes, and she just says, "Dearest Alice," and that's so simple, but really a beautiful way to give a gift.
Absolutely. Starting out, I know we're not going to go too deep in the episode, but on the topic of handwritten notes, for the last probably 5 or so years, I've been making greeting cards for my friends, for their birthdays, going aways. I have a set of watercolors with me, honestly, at any given time. And it's really been a great way to show friends that I care about them in a way that's more specific. And I didn't know that I was good at it. I just started doing it just kind of something fun and being like, oh, what if I made my friend a card? But now my friends are like, you should make an Etsy shop. And I don't know if I'm that dedicated, but it's a great way to show people you care. And
we have one of your cards on our bookshelf.
Aww.
And because they are really beautiful and cute.
Oh, that's sweet.
But let's get into episode 8. So the episode starts, and Meghan tells us that friends and family are coming for a celebration. Now, she doesn't give the details of what the celebration is for, what they're celebrating, but she says, friends and family are coming. I'm hosting a celebration brunch. And I'm immediately in, because those are 2 words I love. I love celebration and I love brunch.
Yeah.
What's there not to like? So I think a big part of California culture, or just anywhere with good weather, is eating outdoors and having a meal outdoors with family and friends, outdoor celebrations. It's a big thing. We did talk about it a little bit before, but get everybody in a yard and throw a yard party. I mean, your yard might not look like Meghan and Harry's, but get everybody in the yard and throw a party. We're getting into episode 8 because we're doing a celebration brunch. So we start off with Meghan in her, let's call this the craft room from now on.
I believe so.
So she's in her craft room, and she's wrapping a gift for legendary chef Alice Waters. And she says that she used to teach a gift wrapping class when she was an auditioning actor. And I
love the phrase of auditioning actor.
It's very specific.
And as a phrase on its own, it says so much. But it also is a way for her to not throw away those times of her life where maybe she was still starting and like still growing.
I used to teach gift wrapping class when I was an auditioning actor. There are a couple tricks that I think you never forget, and it will make gift wrapping easier forevermore. The most important being double-sided tape.
I think it includes her beginnings, her humble beginnings, as well up to her success when she says auditioning actor.
I agree. And I also would say that the reason why I liked her using the term auditioning actor, which if you're not tuned in to that phrase, instead of her saying when I was acting, when I used to audition, like,
yeah,
there are tiers to acting that if you've ever taken like an acting class or if you've ever been around people who are in theater or wanting to do commercials, wanting to do TV and film, there are tiers, and some people never make it to the auditioning actor tier. And so I do think that there are people who that is something to aspire to.
Yeah.
So when she's acknowledging this is when I was an auditioning actor, which sounds like, well, you were an actor getting a job, but some people never get to the point where they're even getting called for auditions.
That's true.
And so that is something that some people aspire to, and then some people don't move beyond. Not everyone gets direct bookings. So there is a whole economy on
There's
just
people that today that could honestly lead a film but still have to audition for those movies. So it is a very specific.
It's a very specific tier. And so I just like that she acknowledged that that was a time in her life where she still needed to have a side hustle. And also I think the last thing about that is that some people actually look down on the auditioning actor tier.
Yeah.
And so for her to just accept it as her truth, I felt like was really poignant. Then she mentions that she wants to be friends with Alice. And this is very similar to her excitement to the Roy Choi episode where she's like, oh my God, I hope me and Alice become friends. She's so excited by Alice, by the way, that she does not introduce who Alice is. She's just like, Alice Waters is coming. Google her. That's basically what happens. I did have to Google her because I was like, why? Like, you didn't, who is she, girl?
Yeah.
Tell us. Anyways.
She's a sweet old woman.
Well,
and you're like, okay, this is but I feel like I should know who this is. Let me Google this.
100%. Because Meghan was so excited. Also, by the way, at the end of the episode, she ends up telling all her friends, like, oh my God, Alice helped me do this. And everyone is looking at her like, who is that? Alice is iconic. You Google her. Anyways, so Alice is known for her farm to table movement. She has a book called Chez Panisse. It's a counterculture of cooking.
She has several books.
And basically when Alice arrives, she gives Meghan a huge hug, which obviously Meg is excited about. And she brings her a gorgeous bouquet of purple garlic. And it kind of resembles tulips, which is so cute. And then Meghan gets right in. She's like, I'm going to make you some tea. And then while she's making her tea, she asks Alice, so what brought you to being a cook? Like, why did you want to start cooking? Was it your mother?
So what you've done for the world, we know, but as a Californian, my gosh.
Well, you know, I didn't know anything about cooking or taste or anything. My mother wasn't a very good cook.
What was the best thing that she made?
Oh, God. Maybe a banana milkshake.
Great.
Alice is like, my mom was a terrible cook, which is really funny. But she says that her mom did teach her to think about health.
Yeah. And I love that Meghan's always doing a reframe to keep it in the positive. This is a big like us for me. I think sometimes it's hard to, I think for someone like Alice, hearing that my mom was a terrible cook, you can deduce so much. But hearing what she gave to you also could add so much. And so it actually was in the lack of her cooking, the ability for her to talk about health was so much more impactful to her because it ended up actually becoming something that Alice has as a baseline of her food to table, her farm to table movement, which food shouldn't be political. It does get political. But Alice is one of those people that understands that food is for everyone.
I think that the key thing to know about Alice Waters, to save you the Google search if you don't want to, is she is an innovator in what we know as California cuisine. So when you think about California pizza, like the Wolfgang Stockpile thing, like her and Wolfgang Puck are synonymous and really creating this idea of what is farm to table innovation and also food that really speaks to using localized California farmers and creating these dishes that honestly, if you're going somewhere and getting probably like an avocado toast, it feels like that's all kind of connected. So Alice is a pioneer and an innovator in this space. Meghan starts talking about the impacts of eating fast food. And she says, I love that you want to think about eating healthier. I always want to too. I grew up eating a lot of fast food, but I think that inspired me to eat better. And Alice doesn't acknowledge the fast food, but instead she says something. She does her own version of a reframe. And she says, well, having a garden is like printing your own money.
Yep.
And I felt like that was such a poignant response to being like, well, you need fast food because you need to save money and it's all about saving the money. So that's why you're eating not healthy. You pay for it in the long run. And to just be like, have a garden and you'll print money.
Yep.
Which I find, as a not something that should be foreign, but I do find that people probably find it difficult to have a garden and to try to grow their own crops and vegetables. So,
I mean, and that's why Meghan said, it is important that everyone, even if they have a little flat in London or they have a little patio, like anything you can grow is your version of that.
So speaking of the garden, Meghan feeds Alice some veggies from her garden. Alice convinces Meghan to eat a turnip, which reminded me of my sister and my brother-in-law forcing me to eat chips I don't want to eat. Meghan does not want to eat this turnip. She takes a bite and then she goes, oh, it's sweet. And she actually ends up liking it. Alice keeps talking about fresh food. And as she's talking about it, Meghan starts blushing and she just says, I feel like you guys are all watching me fall in love.
That's so funny.
Which is so funny. And then they get into making a vinaigrette. So before they get too further into making this salad that the vinaigrette is going to go on, they go to the garden. They grab some lettuce.
It's like a nice walk.
They keep talking about this importance of gardening and planting vegetables kind of wherever you are. Danny, to your point, Meghan brings up, you can have vegetables in your flat. You can, if you're in a cityscape, just have a little garden. I wish I could say that I made a garden at my home. I have not yet, and I do have the yard space, so I should probably get on it. You do have plants though?
I have plants. I used to have Thai basil. I had mint, but then a bunch of aphids got it, and it went so fast. And then from there on, I just kind of stuck to more desert plants. So I have aloe vera. So that's probably actually the only thing that's harvestable and usable is actually aloe vera.
We have one plant inside the house and that's it. I've been keeping her alive since 2020. One of my friends has a fiddle fig tree, and I believe her tree is probably 15 feet tall in her house because she has a very tall ceiling.
Damn.
And it has, by the way, when I first started being friends with her, I think the tree might have only been 8 feet tall. It was tall, but it wasn't and now it's gone so tall that it started to lean towards the light because she has this tall loft and it's a huge tree. So, I mean, if you take care of your plants, it'll grow. She can't eat that plant, but I do think that there's something about having life in your home that you're taking care of and nurturing.
I've also read in Feng Shui that it's not okay to have live plants in certain parts of your home.
I don't know about that.
It takes your energy.
We're going too far.
I don't like that.
We're going too far. Next.
I don't like that.
When they get to the garden, Alice sees Meghan's rosemary bush, and Meghan's like, oh, our overgrown rosemary, and Alice hugs it. She's like, oh my God, it's like a tree hugger, but instead of rosemary hugger, because of course Meghan will always tell a corny joke. It will always find her well. And then they come back inside to start making the quiche. I will say, at this point, I'm realizing in the episode, once they get back inside and they start this quiche making, this is the quietest we have heard Meghan speak the entire season of this show. She's talking to Alice and she's so delicate with her voice. And I'm like, what's going on? But Alice is also very mild with her voice. So the whole episode, she's like, so excited, and she's talking very quiet. And I did notice that. Then before we get into making the quiche, we cut to Meghan in the chicken coop.
To see it play out with the chickens. That's called a chicknick table. Don't judge. It's really actually called that. Most of these girls were rescues. Most of them at the beginning came from factory farms. It took a solid 6 months to rehabilitate them. And then we've, over time, received some as gifts, including those two silkies, which my kids have named Phil and Jill.
she talks about that a lot of these chickens are rescues. But also some of the chickens were gifted to her children, and there's 2, Phil and Jill, but they don't know which one the chickens are named because they were named by toddlers. And so sometimes it's Phil, sometimes it's Jill. She doesn't really know. And they have a little picnic table. And she says that they get so many eggs. Like they probably lay 6 eggs a day.
Yeah, 6 eggs a day.
They should get in the egg business.
Have you ever spent time with any silkies or chickens?
No, but I would like a pet chicken one day. They're very sweet.
Silkies are so cute. They're so cute. My friend had a silky, I don't know, they're chicks, I guess, and they're little. But I didn't know they lay eggs. I don't know why I didn't know they lay eggs.
They're like little eggs.
I didn't know. I didn't know any of that part. I just thought they were the cute chickens.
They're really cute.
They were just the cute ones.
They are really cute. I would want a
They're
pet
like
chicken.
the dogs of the chickens, you know?
Well, all chickens are like, they're good pets. Like they'll snuggle you.
Have you seen that video of the guy and he had a lady chicken and she used to ride in the pickup truck with him and give him kisses?
I have been to a petting zoo where the chickens are like, well, not a petting zoo, but like
they're socialized, right?
They're socialized.
Yeah, they're really
the
socialized.
Chickens are socialized.
Like how your horses could be or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
they're socialized. It's funny. So they use the eggs. They make the quiche. They drink a glass of rosé. And as they're scrambling the eggs into the pie crust, which we didn't actually see them make this pie crust. This is just pie crust that they had on hand. And they use an heirloom tomato and fresh basil on the top. And then they start getting into making the salad. And Meghan is talking to Alice, and Alice just says, I mix salad and eat it with my hands. And she just gets in there and starts using the salad. They grab a lettuce. That was a like us. And then they start, Meghan asks Alice, like, okay, well, I'm having friends over. What do you think I should cook for like my friends? Like, what should the meal be? And Alice just tells her to use stuff from the garden and gives her some good advice. And they make the salad, they eat the salad, they eat the quiche. I love a salad and quiche combo. That is one of my favorite meals, I will say. And Meghan's like, oh my God, this is the best day ever, which is very sweet. Then we cut to, this is a new room that we have not seen the whole season of this show.
Wait. So this is the importance. So Alice's whole idea is that you take things from the garden and that inspires the plate. So what Meghan asks Alice to do is to go through her cornucopia, if you will, of her harvest and help her plan a party for these people that are going to be coming over at the end of the episode. So when she goes in this room, she's taking the notes that Alice gave her to create this menu from Alice's suggestions based off what's in this. So Meghan is like in her think tank, right? This is the think tank.
But it's a new room we haven't seen.
It's a think tank.
It was a war room.
It was dark. It was dark.
It was like, what?
Yeah, it was dark.
We have never seen this. It was like the craft
war room.
Like what? Like I was like, what is this room that we just are now going into? But it was like her hosting war room. She was like, papers. Like I was ready for there to be a chalkboard that was just
we needed like the red pen strings.
She was like the locker. Like
she's like, if we have 2 oranges, we could do the vinaigrette.
That's what it looked like,
and also a dressing.
That's what it looked like. Like they just threw us in a new room we haven't seen. They didn't introduce it.
Oh my God.
She starts her handwriting. This menu that you said that she got these ideas from Alice. She's using her cornucopia. As she starts writing the menu, which, by the way, reminded me of like, you know, that thing that people say online where they're like, what's something that's classy when a rich person does it, but tacky when a poor person does it? And I felt like the handwriting of the menu is a thing that people would not be so gracious about if her handwriting and penmanship didn't look like a font.
Yeah. The penmanship is rich.
The penmanship.
She's done the time.
And
she did the 10,000 hours.
So as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, this girl has taken a writing class. And then she mentions, I got an A- in penmanship. And I just think to myself, what did that teacher want? Did they want a computer font? Like, it's perfect writing.
Oh, I know, right? Why didn't she get an A+?
Yeah,
I know, I hear that now.
Did you turn in an assignment late, Meghan? What is this minus?
Yeah, I think that lady was a hater.
An A- that's crazy work.
An elementary school hater, honestly.
Wild.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that hearing that it was an A- after in my head the whole time, I'm like, wow, her writing is beautiful. An A- just felt like a slight. And honestly, Meghan, you should write her a letter now and be like, how's my penmanship? That's what I would say. Anyway, so then she ends up coming back inside. We go back to the kitchen. She makes carrot pesto. She roasts carrots. She does dessert. It's floral cookies, which are the as ever cookies.
That we saw last episode.
Which I made, which are delicious. Crepes, which I can't think of someone making crepes without thinking of Talladega Nights, where he's like, Ricky Bobby, say you like crepes and I'll leave you alone. He's like, I like really, really thin pancakes. I like crepes. It's not American to like crepes. And then it's just funny.
Also, we get into the party. So then we get to the party.
We get to the party.
And Ari is there. Hello, Ari.
H.
He
arrives and he's like, you did a good job. And I love that he gave her a compliment right away. It was sweet.
Me too. You know that he supports her. He thinks like she's just working way too hard. You know he thinks that.
It's
you
so
know
cute.
He thinks that.
He's like, why are you doing all of this, girl?
And like her mother was there as well.
Sweet. And all her friends. We saw Tracy Robbins in the background.
Yeah.
And then Meghan gives a big speech and she says, we have a business. And they toast to season 1 and as ever.
Thank you for loving me so much and celebrating with me. Cheers, guys.
What was Meghan like for you this episode? Was she like you?
I think Meghan was like me.
Yeah.
In the way that she was so excited about the fresh food and gardening. I love farm to table. I love a farm to table restaurant so much. I went through a period of time where I was being hyper bougie, where I didn't even want to eat at a restaurant if it was not farm to table. I did go through that phase. It actually is quite easy to do that in Los Angeles,
Very
to be
easy.
very picky about only wanting a restaurant like that. And yeah, so that felt like really like me because I do really value fresh ingredients, fresh food. And I love a quiche and I love a salad and quiche. And I also went through a phase where I was eating a lot of salad and quiche because I used to live across the street from a French restaurant in Orange County and it was great.
I love that Alice, when Meghan was talking to Alice, we already said this, but I'm going to say it again, how when Meghan spoke to Alice about how her mother wasn't the best cook, Meghan reframes and says, what was the best thing she makes? I think it's important to have that intention on what fuels you versus what pulls you back. This is real big for me.
That was a huge like us for me
Big
too.
one. Yeah.
As a high schooler, I really appreciated Napoleon Hill's concept of having a positive mental attitude,
Yeah.
PMA. And I felt like this was almost a textbook example of having a positive mental attitude. Something that instead of being like, oh, why was she a bad cook? Meghan didn't even lean into that.
No.
She just said, well, what was the best thing? And then, by the way, the best thing that Alice's mom made was something so fun. It was like a banana milkshake.
I know,
Like,
that
that's
was
such a
cute.
fun, good meal to make.
And especially now knowing that Alice has put so much work into regular food, that her comfort snack probably is something that's a dessert, which is not, I don't think she's known for her desserts so much as she is for like quiches and salads and farm foods, right? So Alice also, I ended up actually borrowing her book from the LA Public Library last night and listening to the audiobook. And this woman is phenomenal. And I want to just read more about it. And I'll be talking to you guys through it as I like keep getting through that book.
Cool. I also like that Meghan champions food as community care. Her
Absolutely.
and Alice have this pairing together,
Yeah.
which I'm sure is a big part of the book. So yeah, I felt like this episode to tie up the season felt right because a lot of the food throughout the season had really been inspired by farm to table.
Yeah.
And so I think it showed where Meghan's inspiration was coming from.
Yeah.
And for her, this was clearly a big get. And I thought that was really special.
Yeah, I mean, she's been supporting people from the Greenfell survivors with her community cookbook that she created there, where it was a charity cookbook, where she featured recipes from residents who were survivors of the Tower Fall. And then the sales of that actually ended up funding a community kitchen for the women there. And she's also done stuff with like the World Central Kitchen with like Jose Andres. I personally love seeing Meghan put her energy towards causes that are close to her. And that also is the big like us. Thinking of each other as human to human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all people.
Oh, well, that's a wrap for us. Season 1 of With Love Meghan, our reviews. Thank you for listening to our show. We are going to be talking about episode 1 of season 2 next. I'm so excited. We'll start next week.
We're so happy that you are Also, like us, if you like us on social media, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, we see your comments and they honestly make us so excited to bring you more of With Love Meghan for season 2. Don't forget to follow us on socials. We're at Like Us Pod. And you can follow me personally. I'm at Erin Jones Wesley.
You can follow me too. I'm DS for Danny on all socials. It's been real. It's been fun. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys on season 2.
Bye.